Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the I.M.A.G.E TV show. This is a wonderful opportunity for all of you who are watching to take advantage of this content. My name is Bobby Pate, and I'm from Des Moines, Iowa. I served 11 consecutive years in prison for nonviolent drug convictions, possession with intent to deliver crack cocaine. I was able to utilize that time to my advantage. I worked hard, I educated myself, and I started helping those right around me, thanks to the good Lord above. We want to remind you to continue to keep watching the I.M.A.G.E TV show. Whenever you see me live on this screen, you know that you're in for an intelligent and wonderful conversation and journey. And I'm asking for your help in the fight against recidivism. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the I.M.A.G.E TV show. And I'm so excited that we are live across the air, all across the land of the United States of America. I've been waiting so long for this opportunity and this chance to get this content out because it's very important. My name is Bobby Pate. I'm the president and founder of I.M.A.G.E for Lives. I.M.A.G.E stands for Inmate Movement Against Gang Evolution. I founded this program in 2016, and now it's been soaring like a dove all across the land. Now, one of the main things that I deal with is parole and probation. This is the topic that I'm on today. Parole and probation. People coming out of prison, recidivism, trying to keep recidivism low, helping people understand their true identity, what it means to get out and work a job that relates to the talent that you have, that relates to the character that you have. All of these things are very important. However, parole and probation can be very deadly. It can be a cursing or it can be a blessing. One thing that we need to know about parole is the fact that when you're on parole or probation, you are not free. That's right. You may be living in society, but that doesn't mean that you're free. In fact, when you're on parole, you're actually considered still a part of the DOC or of the USP, whichever one it may be. You're still considered a ward of the government. Now, let's talk about solutions. Solutions to this can be summed up in one word: support. For me, it was support, big time. I had 4 or 5 different supporters, but even if you don't, one supporter leads to another leads to the next. It all depends on how well you're doing, and how much you're changing and how much you're looking to overcome whatever got you there. I think that with that support, you have to admit when you have a problem or when you're guilty. You see, most people don't want to admit when they're guilty. And that can be a big problem because that deals with self-identity and who you are. In order to change from the person who you were, you first have to accept the fact that that's who you were. So for me, I had to accept the fact that I was living outside of my calling, that I was living outside of my character, and that I was living completely outside of my whole self-identity. I was grew up as a good kid who was fortunate enough to earn a full-ride basketball scholarship at the University of Hawaii, Hilo. I got a college degree, and I got out of college without really having any understanding of any self-identity and who I was and what I wanted to do. So once I got completely done with basketball, I landed back in Des Moines, Iowa, and my subconsciousness mind started to kick in and started to take over, and I wasn't prepared to work a job. I wasn't prepared to actually get into the field that I studied. I wanted to do what came easy, what came best, what came natural to me. So I made bad choices. And I started hanging out with the wrong crowd, and I started selling drugs. I wanted the money. I wanted the lifestyle. I wanted all the things that came along with that, except I didn't want to have to go to prison. Well, that time came, and I had to go to prison. And while I was in prison, that's when I got on my hands and knees. I asked the good Lord for forgiveness, and right there, he started using me. Right there in that prison. That's when I started the program, the I.M.A.G.E program. That's when I started moving out of my comfort zone. That's when I started working a private sector. It all started right there inside those walls. Then when I got released and into the society, everything became second nature. Now, I've got a friend named Roosevelt Miles, who I've been able to partner up with over the last couple of years. This man has a wonderful story. Roosevelt Miles was convicted of first-degree murder in Chicago, Illinois. However, this man served 28 years in prison for a murder that he never committed. And because he served nearly all of his time, he had to come out on parole. Now, Roosevelt Miles has been completely exonerated of the charges that he was convicted of. We're going to get the opportunity to speak with Brother Roosevelt Miles here on this show in just a couple of minutes. And we're going to go into the journey and into his life of what it was like, or what it was like to spend 28 consecutive years in prison for a murder that you didn't commit, and then get out on parole and have to deal with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you the one and only Roosevelt Miles.
Hello, everyone.
Brother Roosevelt Miles, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine.
Good. So, first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to be on the show. I think that your story is very important, and you have so much to offer, not only to the people that are incarcerated, but also the taxpayers and the people that have never been to prison. I think that you can give them a great understanding of not only parole and probation, but we want to send the message across, first of all, that, when we've got a high percentage of people out here in America that are still on parole and probation for whatever. It may be a violent crime. It may be a nonviolent crime. Now, you spent 28 consecutive years in prison and then was released and then got out on parole. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, in Illinois, after you do all your time, I had 60-year sentence, and my sentence I had to do 50% of that, so that's 30 years. I ended up doing 28, got out 2 years early for my good conduct, all my certificates. I'm a paralegal by law. So coming out on parole is a total different understanding about life. Because, first of all, you got to wear an ankle monitor for 90 days. And this monitor has you locked in your house as a prison. Only can come.
Now, let me just cut you off. So you had to wear an ankle monitor for coming out of prison, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, not everyone has to wear one, because I didn't have to wear one. I just want to make sure that that's clear to the viewers out there, that everyone coming out of prison doesn't have to. The violent ones have a high percentage chance of that. So go ahead.
Yes, well, I'll make it completely clear so everybody understands it. In Illinois, just Illinois,
Okay.
coming out, the law states that you have to have a ankle bracelet on. You have to do between 30 and 90 days home monitoring. That
Oh,
means
wow. Okay, so the state of Illinois
that's the law.
requires that. Okay, I got you.
That's the law. And it all depends. So I had 90 days. I ended up doing 45 days with an ankle bracelet on. But that's not that's a walk. That's like a walk in the park. The problem is when you get out, you got to register. I got to register as a murderer. You have to register as a murderer when you got a violent crime, as in murder. If you got robbery or drugs, you don't have to register, but you can't go in certain areas. This is Illinois. You can't go in certain areas if you keep catching these drug cases and you keep coming back. You can't go to these areas. So being on parole, it's like being in prison on the streets. You It's certain things that you have to look out for. You don't want to be around certain things, so you walking on eggshells. I did 28 years in prison, 2 years on parole. That's 30 years. I did my time. The thing is, I did all this time as an innocent man. As an innocent man. So I walked that walk. And, and everybody says a thin line between going back or staying out. That it's not no thin line. That line is what you make it out of. But if you go back in the same neighborhood and doing the same thing, you return. It's like a revolving door. You're out for the summer, back in for the winter. I think Illinois, and this is me, should abolish the parole system. And I think they should go in and recalculate everything that they doing, because individuals coming home and the standards that y'all want them to stand on, all to do is send them right back. So if I move, I'm on parole. If I move and forget to notify them, they're gonna send me back. If I'm late from work and they call, they're gonna send me back.
That's right, brother. And you know as well as I do, Brother Roosevelt Miles, is that we've had these conversations, the cursings and the blessings of parole and probation. One of the curses is you go back to prison. I mean, you could be in a car with an open container and someone in the car was probably drinking. If they arrest you and you go to prison or you go to jail, that is now a parole violation. You could be, it can be something as light as hanging around known felons, people that have been convicted of a felony. You're hanging around them. That's a rule violation in the state of Iowa. Under a condition I believe, hanging around known felons. Not sure if that's the right alphabet, but I know that any of these infractions that you violate will send you back to prison, and you could be stuck in there for years.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
I need to ask you this, Robert. How can you not hang around people that's on parole when everything everybody that is on parole? How you cannot? You cannot? You got to move.
That's a great question. You can't. And in fact, if a parole officer wanted to, they could violate you for any one of those conditions, or they could pick one of those conditions and violate you if they really wanted to. That's why it makes such a huge difference on what kind of parole officer you get. If you get a parole officer that's out to get you, then they can literally violate you on one of those conditions. I mean, there's no way that you can walk a perfect life, correct?
That's correct. And you named two, but it's 1,000 conditions that'll send you back to prison. If you got a dog, a pit bull, you're going back to prison. So it's many things that they can violate you on, and it's sad though. It's very sad, because at the end of the day, you can parole to someone's house and that person can say, I don't want him here. I don't want him here. A family dispute, send you right back.
That's right. You could not have a job and go right back to prison. Be out on the streets. You could get a parole, which means you come home and you're looking for a job and you can't find that job within a certain amount of time. You've got to go back to prison because your parole officer said that you could not maintain employment. Now, Brother Roosevelt, we've talked a little bit about the curses. Let's talk about the blessings of being on parole. It does develop great habits, working, consistent incomes, being able to vote, being able to travel across the country. I mean, there are some great things that you can shape and condition your mind into. And I think that me and you both have been examples of that.
That is so correct. You said it. You could have said it better, because parole is called a second chance at life for an individual. You and everybody say, "Well, we're gonna make plans, or we're gonna do goals." No, do life, and life is what God intended you to do. Go out there and be the man that He intended you to be. Don't change a course of life because you had one mishap and went to prison, or two mishap. You got a chance to get it right, and parole is the way of doing it right. You get a chance to see society for what it really is. You get to work, you get to eat, you get to see your doctors, you get to see your family, and this is what you want to want. You got to want it, though. That's the thing.
That's right. You do have to want it. And again, that's what develops some of these great habits is, for me, I just look back coming out, being able to work a job consistently, being able to develop great friends, being able to hang around and being able to just include myself around people that are moving in the direction that I want to move. And I think that support makes a huge difference as well. You had support. I had support coming out, and we have to continue to keep supporting others coming out. And that's one of the main reasons for this show, is that we're able to help those all across the country who are looking for that support. People who, if you're looking at this show right now, if you're tuned in and you know someone who is on parole or probation and you're looking for some type of help, I encourage you to give me a call, 515-326-5498, rpate.image@gmail.com. And you reach out to me, and I can assure you that we will try to find some help in your direction. Brother Roosevelt Miles, can you just tell me a little bit about what it was like for you to wake up every single day looking at a life sentence for a murder that you didn't commit?
Well, I never counted the days. I made each day count. So when I go to sleep at night, I think about how I'm gonna fight my case and which avenue I'm gonna take, and what I got to do today. What I did yesterday, and I need to stay on top of this today. And I made my choices just to gain my paralegal certificate. Them choices, when you do that, and you got paralegal certificate, you eat, sleep, and drink, work. This is your life. This is what you do. And every morning, every noon, every day, this is what I do, legal work. So when people go to yard, I'm in the cell with nothing but legal work spread out. They used to say, man, if I need you, I know where you at work, the law library, or on the visit. And this is my life. This is what I made my life. And I enjoyed myself. But I had a plan. Because I knew I was innocent. And I obtained the best lawyers in the country to prove my innocence. And the Bunjean Law Group of New York brought me home. No matter the fact that I did my time, but they brought me home in a manner in which I knew I was going to get released from this bondage that I had nothing to do with. So with that said, every day was a challenge, was a fight. And I got a car out there that got license plate say Ghost. And people say, what that mean? That mean, man, in prison, I walked among the living dead. And you got to be in prison to understand that verse, walking among the living dead. Because I had 60 years. You had guys that was double life. The guys just come off death row. So we walking among the living dead. And it was a fight. It was a challenge. But I made that challenge to work for me, not against me. So when I came home, soon I came home, I was working, but I started a nonprofit organization called Help Break the Chain. This is the reason I started, because I wanted to help others to reintegrate back into society. And I've been doing good with this, been getting guys jobs, been teaching them how to vote, showing them how to do bank accounts, and everything you need to be successful in life. I just teamed up with one of my lawyers, Ashley Cohen, and we have a nonprofit organization called ABC Reentry, and we want to set up everywhere, and we want to link up everywhere with people that's doing things into the reentry programs, because everybody's got reentry programs ain't really what they need to do. But I know what you're doing. I've been on panels with you, and I know doing this, what you do, is a very important thing, and people need to understand that. Like you said, call you, give you a call, and if you can't get in touch with you, give me a call, 309-922-1088. That's Roosevelt Miles, and my email address is imfreedom2022@gmail.com. I'm here, I'm doing it, and this is my man, Mr. Pate, is doing it, and we out here to help. We need everybody to be involved in this, because our schools are pipelines to the prisons. If you don't know it, 90%, I'm not going to get that. 40% of our students don't graduate. A lot of them end up in prisons, on the streets, homeless, as they grow older in life. We need to do this and reach out and grab these individuals and help them. And, you know, they say, help one person, you can help another. Help that person, you can help another. Do this. But this is what I go by every day since I've been home. And it's a saying, never stop, never stop, never stop. And I'm going to continue to help. I'm not looking for grants. I'm going to do it out my heart. And I'm doing it.
That's beautiful, man. I love it. Now, Brother Roosevelt Miles, there's one other thing that I want the people out there to understand, the viewers that are watching this show. First of all, there are people that go into prison who are guilty. There are some the very rare, small percentage of people that go in there who are actually not guilty of what they were convicted of. And I was one of those who was guilty of what I was convicted of. I felt like the time was a little excessive, was a lot excessive, actually. However, I thank God for that time, because I wouldn't be the man that I am today if it wasn't for me going to prison and spending 11 consecutive years in there. I watched people who had violent crimes, people who had actually taken lives and killed people, who had did less time than I did, meaning I did more time than they did for something nonviolent than they did for literally taking a life. And I was a little bitter about that, but God had changed and shaped my life and shaped my heart so much that it was more so about looking at the new person that I was and the new person that I had became. And I couldn't trade that for anything. So, you have different stories, you have different images, you have different people, but it all barrels down to one thing, and that is support when you come out. When you come out, whether you were innocent or guilty, and you come out on parole. Now, you came out on parole, correct?
Correct, right.
Okay, for someone who was who is now exonerated and who was in prison for a crime they didn't commit and still had to come out on parole, that would be very frustrating, man. I give you all the props in the world for being able to maintain your composure and being the man that you are today. And I'm so thankful that you've been on this show to give your testimony. I give you big props, my brother.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a challenge, though. And everybody always asks me, when I stand on the stage and I speak to people, when I do these events, they always ask that question: why you're not angry? What does anger do? Definition of anger. What does anger do to a person? It kills him, destroys him. And when he destroys him, that person, he destroys someone else. So why would I want to be angry? I'm happy. I'm blessed. God wake me up every morning and he give me life. After that, I pay everything back to God from giving me that life. And I try to do everything that day better than I did the previous day. It's no matter if you was guilty or innocent. You have to have a support system when you come home. That's what keeps you going. If you have no support system, then you go out there and try to support yourself by doing everything that you can. So this is why we're Image for Life, Help Break the Chain, ABC reentry programs are here for a reason. We're here for a reason. We're not here for a season. Here today and gone tomorrow. We here. And it's the reason that we're here to do this. Because we've been there. We've done that. And we saw when you come home what is out there for you. Choices.
That's right. I thank you very much for coming on the show. We're getting close to the end. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, if you're out there, please, you did not watch this show by mistake or by accident. And if you feel moved or compelled to be that support that we're talking about out here in the community, or that support to one of your family members, we challenge you. We challenge you to step up to the plate and help spread that love, because that's what it's going to take to keep this recidivism lowered all across the country. My name is Bobby Pate, and I approve this message. And we've got Roosevelt Miles on the other end, and I'm sure he approves it too. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys that are tuned in right now, this is, again, some very important topic, not only to me, but it's important to a lot of people. And guess what? This is what I keep on me right here. This here is an honor. It's a badge of honor in my eyes. This is my state of Iowa parole discharge paper. And this thing right here means so much to me. I mean, I'm going to get a frame for it. I just got off parole October 16th. And that was I just got off parole a few weeks ago. I am so happy. It was like a huge burden relieved. It was just like a burden lifted right off my back. I mean, you don't know how hard it is to be able to walk on eggshells around people who are trying to get you in trouble, around people who are hating on you. I mean, it takes a lot of self-responsibility. It takes a lot of prayer. It takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of staying completely out of the way in order to complete that mission. So I want to thank my sponsors. I want to thank my sponsors for making this all possible. I'd like to thank Robert Kramer with Robert Kramer and Associates, Inc., Kramer and Associates, Inc., and I would like to thank Brian and Marianne Lee, both at Doc's Lounge, for your contributions in making this show happen, for sponsoring me, and all the help that you've given to I.M.A.G.E for Lives. And we want to continue and broaden that support so that we're able to do bigger and better things. Again, don't forget to tune in, same time, same place, I.M.A.G.E TV show. We'll see you next time.